Hey guys, welcome to our top 10 worst movies of 2020. If you like this kind of content and you want to support us above and beyond the Call of Duty, click those links down below. Support us on Patreon. We have a bunch of cool rewards as Joe knocks things over, and it really helps us out. And then also we've got a YouTube join button. So if you'd like to see these extra videos, and this year I'm just going to kind of put up whatever the hell I want. And if you want to support that, then click those links below. Consider supporting us there. There's some cool rewards. And let's get right into the top 10 worst movies of 2020. Now, these guys, they told me on the last one, Alex hasn't seen very many movies, and Joe has seen too many bad movies.
152.
152. So, Joe, do you want to go top 10 with me? Because I have 10, or do you still have 5 each?
No, let me see what I got on.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go 10.
I got 7 for
7. Okay, well,
We'll
then
do
Joe
top
can
five.
kick
We'll
in.
talk, yeah.
Joe can kick in when he's ready. So, all right, let's do it. Here we go. These are the top 10 worst movies of 2020.
Number 10.
My number 10 is Brahms, The Boy 2. It's a 2020 American supernatural horror film starring Katie Holmes, and it's like a standalone sequel to The Boy. So you don't really have to see The Boy to see this one. Don't see either of them. Actually, The Boy was all right, but The Boy 2, terrible, laughable, awful. It just is stupid as shit. Okay, you think that it would go somewhere because it kind of does go in the direction I want it to go.
straight to your trash.
I want it to be like a demonic doll. Like, I've always wanted to see the doll move, but they didn't do that shit in the first one. So they kind of do it here, but they do it in a really fucking stupid ass way that makes it embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. Everything about the movie was bad. And if you're like, you know how most horror movies just kind of spiral out of control in the last 15 minutes and everything gets silly, and any tension or anything cool that they've built up just gets completely ruined? They did that.
Yep.
Really well in this one.
Really bad.
Yeah.
And it was also a financial disappointment, grossing $20 million against a budget of $10 million plus advertising costs. So that's
Probably made
not
money,
usually.
unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's not usually what we want for horror films. You know,
Oh,
they
I
want
know.
$7 million and make $400 million and $300 million. So that was my number 10.
Number 9.
Number 9 is a film I did not have any hope for, but I wanted to see it. I kept trying to see it. I was like, when is it coming out? It's delayed over and over and over and over. It's like, this is the last gasp of Fox and their superhero films. Did you guys end up seeing The New Mutants?
The trailer looked horrible. Nothing about that looked good. So
It was
no, I
so
did not.
forgettable, so boring, so generic that you didn't even bother to watch it.
No, the trailer
Neither
was
of you.
horrible.
It's Fox. I was going to force these guys to review it at a certain point, but we just fucking let it go because we should have let it go. And honestly, we should have done a review because it was awful. It was boring. It was slow. The performances were awful. You could see why this thing was in development hell. You can see the reshoots. You can see it all. It had one of the worst, campy, shittiest villains. The powers were stupid. It just
Yes.
it was just awful.
You need to start picking on me so I could do stuff.
You could have powers, yeah.
Yeah. So New Mutants grossed $23.9 million in the United States, another $22 million elsewhere for a total of $46 million when the budget was $80 million. So it was a financial bomb, and
That's how Disney got Fox so cheap. It's like, this is the kind of movies you're making.
yeah, and it's sort of the last hurrah for the Fox era of mutants. But thankfully, that era is gone. Writing for The Hollywood Reporter, Jordan Mintzner said, generic and at best straining to be heartfelt.
Yeah. That's what the trailer felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Just despite all of the meddling and interference that the film reportedly went through, it's still a fucking piece of shit, in my opinion. Right. All right. Well, that was my number 9.
Number 8.
Number 8 is a film that they had the gall to charge an extra $30 on top of your season price, your subscription to Disney Plus, and that is Mulan. Mulan was just a bad Disney adaptation.
Oh, shit, I forgot about that one.
I know.
That's
Really?
how bad it was.
It was awful.
Oh, I
I
never heard
didn't
about
like
this one.
it. What do you think, Alex?
I hated this one because Mulan, the animated movie, I have such
I
fond memories
love
too.
yeah,
that
y'all
one.
guys love it so much.
Well, this one is
Yes.
much higher on my list than it is on your
Good.
list because
Okay.
It deserves it.
it was soulless. You could tell that they were trying to appease everyone. They're like, we want to make it big in China. We want to make it big in the United States. We want to take out all of the stuff that's going to offend China, and that means we're going to take out all of the music
The fun.
And
we're
all
gonna
of the
take out
good stuff, and
heart
all of the
and
fun.
the soul and the story and everything about this movie was shit. And I hope they lost their asses.
Yeah. And I hope they lost their asses too. Soulless, not fun, insulting to ask for $30, and yeah, it was garbage. Moving on.
Number 7.
My number 7 is one of the last theatrical films we ever saw as the Angry
That's
Joe Show.
mine. Mine is higher than yours. Then.
Yeah, I think mine's higher than yours.
Bloodshot.
Yep.
You mean to tell me it's gonna get a part 2?
Vin Diesel's 2020 American superhero film based on the Valiant Comics character of the same name, and they did the character injustice because I guarantee you this character is way cooler than what we ended up getting in this absolute garbage piece of shit. The villain was hilarious, Joe. Who was the villain? He's this little guy.
Stupid.
He's got a little
Stupid.
fucking exosuit with skinny arms and shit. Is like a rip. I don't know. It was god awful.
There was one good scene in that whole movie, and it lasted for
ending?
2 minutes.
Oh.
No, I think when he's getting shot,
he's in the
and they're
tunnel,
shooting it.
and there's like flour everywhere, so you can see all this still cool stuff. And then that ended, and it's like the movie.
Other than that, it was awful.
Yeah.
It Bloodshot was let's see here. It grossed
Man.
10 million in the United States, but 27 million other territories for a worldwide total of 37 million. But the budget was 45 million.
You know
So,
why? You know why they're
made
getting a
loss.
second one? Because the studio says no. It's not that the movie was bad, and the writing was bad, and the acting was bad, and the premise was bad, and the CGI was bad. It was COVID. COVID's bad.
These
Our
idiots.
movie wasn't bad, so we're gonna make a part 2.
Yes.
And I hope they lose their asses.
It was intended
I
to
hope so.
launch a shared cinematic universe of Valiant Comics. Bloodshot was conceived to be followed by a sequel, 2 films, Harbinger, and then a crossover called Harbinger Wars.
Bloodshot gets 2 movies.
Well, unfortunately, that was delayed, and the future of the franchise is questioned by various outlets. But into September 2019, it was announced in March. November, I'm sorry. A Bloodshot sequel was officially announced to be in development with Vin Diesel intended to reprise his role. By December of the same year, Diesel confirmed his involvement with the project, which makes no fucking sense because not only was it a bad film, not only did it lose money, but and not only did it fail to launch a cinematic universe, but god damn it, they're going to try again.
Yep.
It's horrible.
Yeah, like Owen Gilberman of Variety wrote, Bloodshot is a trash compactor of a comic book film, but it's smart trash, an action matrix that's fun to plug into.
No.
Fuck this
He was
guy.
looking for
doesn't know what
something
he's
nice
talking
to say.
about.
He was just like,
I can't believe I read the one good review
well,
of it because it has a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. Anyway,
I
that
have a
was
number 7. I will jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my number 7 is Gretel and Hansel.
Oh yeah.
I wanted this one to be pretty cool. I was like,
Yeah.
it had the cool.
We
like,
even went to a
eerie
premiere
tone.
with the director.
Yeah, it had the eerie tone. It had a pretty good cast. So I was like,
He didn't
okay,
write it, though.
Let's hope this is good. I did not. I was super disappointed
So
with this film.
I don't know if I agree with you. I don't know if I hate this fucking movie because it was the worst movie watching experience I've ever had in my entire life. Because it was.
It was hot.
So
it
we were
was annoying.
We were in the VFW, right?
Yeah.
And so we're in this long, flat room. There's a tiny projection screen over there. They filled the room with fucking kids. shitty, loud, horrible, shitty kids who
Attitude, the
didn't
atmosphere.
stop talking the
It's
entire
true.
fucking time. There was a,
And they
then
packed us in so close. And this was in January of 2020.
Yeah.
So before.
I mean,
pandemic.
the room is way over like occupancy habits. Like the fire marshal should have been called. We're on these tiny, uncomfortable folding chairs. The people in front of us were they were sitting on their own feet so they could see because no one in this theater or this room could see.
That's right. I got up and I sat somewhere else,
You
not
got
even
up-
near y'all.
the
I
idiot-
sat right in front of the projector. The projector was right in front of me, and I just stood and watched the whole movie the whole time.
And then
it was
in
the only place I could see it.
Oh yeah, and it was also super hot in the room.
Yeah.
And then in addition, it was boring.
So we were expecting it to be really good because the actress, what do you call
The
it?
witch.
The witch. She it sells it so damn well, and
I was
it's just there
super
was no
disappointed.
material there for them to work with. They go with the stupidest fucking Gretel twist at the end where it comes and tries to make a cinematic universe where now she's a witch and shit, and she's gonna have her own powers, and it's like no, and they find it shit on fucking Hansel. He's barely in it. It's just no, we didn't like it. It
Dumb.
was you could tell it was like stupid, agenda driven, boring, and awful.
Dare you bring that shit up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So moving on.
That's the thing I can remember.
Number 6.
Number 6 for me is another horror film. So we've got, as we had some good horror films in 2020, we had some really bad ones. This is really bad. It was The Turning. The Turning was a 2020 American supernatural horror film directed by Floria Sigismondi. It starred Mackenzie Davis, Finn Wolfhard. So I was like, oh, cool, man. It's the guy from, Stranger Things. He'll be great in it. He was fucking terrible. And the film was fucking terrible. And it was so fucking boring. It was pointless.
Yep.
Pointless, one of the most pointless, boring horrors that will waste your fucking time, waste your fucking money. Box office, 19 million. Budget, 14 million. Plus, they probably had to market it, so it probably ended up making them no money. Guys, did y'all see The Turning?
Yeah, you made us watch it with
we
you.
watched it. It
Shit,
is,
did we
above.
review that
Yes.
shit?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
that's
did.
right.
It
was
is
awful.
higher on my list.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
it was bad. Didn't
fuck
like
that
it.
film. Watch our movie review if you want more details on that one. Moving on, Joe.
My number 6 is a Netflix movie called Coffee and Kareem.
What
I
the
don't,
fuck?
I don't know if you've seen it. I was like, oh, let's check it out. It has
Coffee and
Ed Helms. He's a police officer dating some guy's mom. He's like a teenager, and he hates him because he's a cop. And then
Okay,
they get in
sounds
trouble.
funny.
It sounds funny. I was like, oh, I like this guy. He's pretty funny. But this was terrible watch.
Awful.
It was super just bland.
Dumb story.
Chemistry wasn't there.
No
Everything,
jokes.
everything was just forced. Super forced. I had to finish watching it. Never again.
You just can't turn something off.
I can't. I was like, how does it end?
Yeah.
I'll lose sleep over it, Alex.
All right.
So, yeah,
Alex,
that's my number 6.
Do you have one yet or no?
No,
Not yet.
no, we'll say The Turning. Turning is terrible.
Okay, cool.
It wasn't in my top 5.
All right, so we're moving on to the next one.
Number 5.
My number 5 is Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey, if y'all don't know, was one of the worst DC films. This was a superhero film with, the popular Margot Robbie as, Harlequin. And she was the best part, but, the action was awful. The story was awful and boring. It just sucked.
Yeah, I did not like this movie at all. They didn't really spend enough time focusing on Bird of Prey.
Exactly.
It should have just been something else.
Yeah, everything about this movie was stupid. Every scene to scene doesn't make any sense. From like the bad guys having guns to then not having guns, the characters showing. I mean, everything about it is dumb. And there's great things that you can watch, like the pitch meeting. If you ever want to watch the Screen Rant pitch meeting of Birds of Prey,
super good.
It's just like it explains why everything in this movie was stupid.
Yeah, well, apparently we are in the minority because it is a 78% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe because they pushed the female empowerment angle, and I get it, but I don't
get it. It
think
could have been something way
it could have been
better.
great.
Yeah.
But it's website's critics' consensus reads with a fresh perspective, some new friends, and a load of fast-paced action. And so basically, I think none of those things are true. I think, the new
friends
characters
don't
that
come
showed
out till
up.
like the very end.
Right. The Huntress
not
was
enough-
garbage.
yeah.
And even though like, oh, we love her. Just because you love her and you love the actress doesn't mean that she put together a good performance.
She should have been she should have been the star. The movie should have been about the Huntress, really, because that's the only character with a cool story, and have Margot Robbie bouncing.
I didn't like her at all. You might have liked.
Well, no, not in this movie, but.
Anyways, just awful. They got rid of the Joker because they didn't want to see Jared Leto anymore.
They broke up.
Man's gone crazy.
There was a hyena, and then there was no hyena, and then
A lot of inconsistencies.
Yeah.
The only good part about it was Margot Robbie's performance, but the Ewan McGregor, just as weird, creepy, just not working black mask. It just didn't work, and culminated in probably one of the dumbest, nonsensical, sort of action sequences that was just. Yeah, awful. Anyways, so the sequel, no sequel. Margot Robbie said, no, not doing that anymore, but she will show up and appear in The Suicide Squad. Perhaps a much better version of what this film could be because directed by James Gunn. So Kathy Yan said that she would be interested, and Kathy Yan was the director of this, in directing a sequel that would explore Harley Quinn's relationship with Poison Ivy. I think if you went with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, that would be a better setup than this, especially when you're trying to bring in all these birds of prey and then the police officer, and you didn't have enough screen time, focus way more on Harley Quinn, but it just muddled.
Yeah.
So a misfire from DC, going back to the old days of DC. What about y'all?
My number 5 is a Happy Madison production.
Oh,
The Wrong Missy.
Netflix. Oh, I didn't see that. That was going to be an honorable mention, but I didn't see it, so I didn't put it on the list.
I saw it. Like, I like bad movies.
Oh, you don't say.
What is with that lady? Like, her whole thing is like, I'm extremely
It's
ugly.
over the top. Yeah. That's the whole movie. That's basically the whole movie, right?
That when she does faces. Yeah.
Keep forgetting
I
her name.
don't know her name.
I'll have to look it up. But it's basically David Spade is the main character. He's going on a company retreat. He falls in love with some girl in the airport, and
Lauren Lapkus.
Yeah, her name is Missy, but the other girl, that crazy one, her name is also Missy. Oh, he called the wrong Missy, so now they're
he's like the
on
most
the retreat.
obnoxious date ever.
Yes.
But then at some point through it, he realizes maybe she's the one that I really like.
I was like, what? Why? She's apparently very good at everything, but
Sure.
this is another one I had to finish. I was like, okay, never again will I watch this again. But
This is one of those that's like so like fascinating. I might eventually watch.
Oh no!
It has like all the same people. It's a Happy Madison
Yeah, it's
production,
always
so
those
it
people.
has like a Rob Schneider
Okay.
as
Rob Schneider.
the Hawaiian
Right,
guy.
but this is a pale comparison to the day of good Happy Madison.
that is gone.
That's
that
gone.
is gone.
Long gone. What about you, Alex? Do you have a
Trash.
number 5?
Yeah, number 5, I had Bloodshot.
Yeah.
So it was way up there.
We talked about Bloodshot already. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Number 4.
My next one is I watch a lot of art house films. I'm really into watching A24. I'm watching some of Neon. I'm watching some of these other ones. And so my tolerance for some of these types of films has risen quite a bit. Slower burns, artsy fartsy. But this one just fucking broke my tolerance.
I think I know what you're
This
talking about.
one is
The
I'm
dancing
thinking
one?
of ending things.
Oh, no, it's a
no,
different
not the
one.
dancing one.
Okay.
This one is I'm thinking of ending things, which has its own
I
kind of
wanted to
dance
see
sequence
that.
in it. And when it was doing the dance sequence, I was like, all right, fuck this, I'm out. This is a 2020 psychological thriller film written and directed by Charlie Kaufman, and it's based on a novel. So what I do like about it, and it is engaging, it just engages you and makes you wonder what the fuck is going on here, because the way it's filmed, the dialogue, the atmosphere of this boyfriend and his girlfriend, where she was thinking about breaking up with him, doesn't really like him that much anymore. They're driving in the snowstorm to go to his parents' house, and when he gets there to his parents' house, like, it's weird and creepy, and the atmosphere keeps changing and their attitudes keep changing. It's almost like they're different people and this and that. But really, it all sort of culminates, and then it cuts to just something that doesn't make any sense, like a janitor in a school school, and this janitor is cleaning up, and it's superimposed between these different things, and it turns out that he's all. I don't know if I want to spoil it. No, I want to spoil. It's terrible. He could have. It's like the life he didn't live, and it's too artsy fartsy, and it ends up just not working for me. There's sometimes where it's so pretentious, so drama club that I end up hating it. And this was one of those artsy fartsy films that I hate. I'm guessing neither one of you have seen it.
No.
Okay.
I wanted to check it out.
Well, fucking,
I've seen some
it's
pretty
in some
bad ones.
interesting ones, and then it just feels like a fucking waste of time because it does like this ending where it's like, oh God.
But could it be worse than
shut
Spaghetti Man?
up. No, I'm sure Spaghetti Man is worse.
Spaghetti Man is amazing.
So I'm in the minority here. In fact, this film is on a lot of top 10 lists, and I wish I could articulate it better. If I did an independent review, then I could give you more reasons. But 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics' consensus is aided by stellar performances from Jesse Buckley and Jesse Plemons. I'm Thinking of Ending Things finds writer-director Charlie Kaufman grappling with the human condition as only he can. I'm sure, I guess, whatever. It's his unique take on it, and I will give it this. It is unique. It is different, and it is crazy at the end, but it's just the wrong kind of
Sometimes things don't
fartsy
resonate.
and crazy, and it didn't resonate with me. So that was it. What about y'all on number 4?
My number 4 is The Turning. The Turning, nothing happened, just nothing but boredom.
Yeah. You were turned bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably have Brahms up here. Man, we talked about it. It's bad.
Yeah.
Don't see it.
Brahms sucked.
Number 3.
My number 3 is fucking Wonder Woman 1984. That's right. It was one of the worst films of 2020. Why? Well, go watch my angry review, my extended review discussion of a nonsensical, fucking stupid-ass film that ruins the lore, that ruins the character, that throws fucking story out the window, and it's just awful. It's stupid. It sucks, and we barely even get to see Wonder Woman, and when she is doing shit, she's doing cringy shit that is awful.
Yep.
She's doing sad things.
The only joy she's ever experienced in her 600-year existence is the 1 week she knew one dude one time, but they had sex once.
And one thing we
He
never
must
brought
have
up
been
from
doing
any of our
something right.
extended discussions was the creepy implications of that guy getting raped.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman essentially committing rape. Nobody thought about the story long enough to say, do we have to do it this way?
Of course you don't.
Oh, so clever. Yay. No.
Yeah.
Everything about that,
You didn't.
and it's worse. The more that I've talked about that movie with other people, it's like, holy shit, everything
more
about
it
this
gets-
is stupid.
Right. It's awful. And even people that like it at this point are like, yeah, it's dumb and some of it doesn't make sense, but I just like it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
Well,
You're
so
entitled.
other people didn't like it, so I have to like it.
That too.
Because that's...
I
You
think
just
we can
don't
all
get
agree
it.
that it was
Don't get
really,
it.
really bad. Did you guys forget it? Is it not
Oh,
on your
no,
list?
mine's higher up than yours.
All right, here we go.
Number
So-
3, what was your number 3?
Oh, my number 3 is the Brahms. The
Brahms.
Boy 2.
Yeah, Brahms.
Mine was Birds of Prey. I mean, we really shit on this movie, but there's a lot of reasons to shit on this movie. Everything in this movie is stupid, even for a superhero movie. The tone is fucking weird, where they go from like bright, colorful, and then they go back to weird and dark, and then no, don't see this movie.
Yeah. And that's exactly, I just, okay.
Ugh.
Let's go on to number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
My number 2 is apparently a very highly revered book series. And they decided to do a film adaptation based on the novel, and it was put on Disney, and it was released on Disney Plus. It was Artemis Fowl,
Yeah, I
one
heard
of
that
the
was
worst
bad.
films, the cheesiest, stupidest, fairiest. Well,
It's for kids,
It's
Joe.
no,
Really
it was
stupid kids.
No. No,
some
don't
keys
fucking tell me
dangling.
that. The Soul could be considered for kids, or any of the goddamn Disney fucking films or Pixar films, but it also has something for adults. This film languished in development hell with several different writers and directors attached to it, and it should have been left there if this is what was going to happen to it.
Made money though.
Yeah, because this was finally picked up science fantasy adventure film, just awful. But directed by Kenneth Branagh and a screenplay co-written by
Kenneth Branagh did this?
Yeah, and Connor McPherson and Hamish McCall did the screenplay. That's probably who fucked it up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Awful.
He's done a ton of different things.
The budget was $125 million, and guys, I can tell you, if this thing was in the theaters, it would have been a huge embarrassment. And I think Disney noticed that, and they tried to make this one of their first. Hey, everybody, go and it's on Disney Plus now, so go check out Disney Plus. But not even they dared to charge $30 extra for this one like they did with Mulan. They knew that this one was so shitty that it wasn't going to work.
There are a lot of filmmakers that think that they're right as if children are stupid and can't understand, complicated anything. And I think this is just one of them. Everything I heard or read about this movie it's made for the dumbest possible child.
The consensus is a would-be franchise that will instead anger fans of the source material and leave newcomers befuddled. Yeah. I would say, I was befuddled. It was like, what the fuck is this? This is stupid. Artemis Fowl is frustratingly flightless. Yeah, it was. I just don't want to see more. They tried to set it had Colin, Farrell. I like Colin Farrell, but it tried to set up more. I was like, no, please put this kid away. I never want to see him again. I never want to see him or stupid fairies or any of these people ever again. I'm done with it. So yeah, as far as I can tell, that's where it ends. I don't see any news on continuing the book series.
They're trying to sweep it under the rug.
This was, the first two books in the series, and they took way too many serious liberties, and they fucked it up. So that's number 2. Go ahead.
My number 2 is The Grudge. Oh, don't go to the house.
Oh!
Don't go to the house.
Don't go to the house.
You watch this movie, you probably pass out too.
Yeah.
That movie was very dumb.
It was terrible. Everything about this movie sucked so bad. Stupid ass jump scares, nothing but jump scares, nothing deserved. Everything about this sucked pee-pee.
Yep.
I hated it.
What was your number?
My number 2 is Wonder Woman. It was one of the worst movies.
Yes, you're right.
And one of the reasons I consider it is not the worst thing I actually saw this year. Like The Grudge is worse than Wonder Woman.
It.
The issue is my hopes for Wonder Woman were so much higher. My expectations were higher because love the character, really liked the first movie.
Yeah.
Really was like I'm all with Patty Jenkins. Let's do all this stuff. And then they shit on the character and everything about it. Everything about it just ruined everything for me. And it's just because my expectations were high. And I think rightfully so, because I really liked the first one.
Yeah.
So was really, really let down by Wonder Woman.
Awful, awful film. All right, let's go to our number 1s.
Number 1.
My number 1, it's been said already on with Joe, The Grudge. The Grudge was a remake, redone that never needed to happen. It was quite possibly one of the worst horror, most boring horror. There was no reason to watch this. It wasn't scary. It was awful. It even starred Mandy, the actual Mandy from Mandy, and you could barely tell it was her. She tries to put together a good performance, but she has no material. Written and directed by Nicolas Pesce. I never want to see him work any of his shit again. Produced by Sam Raimi. Shame on you. Shame on you.
That's right.
Yeah, shame on you. That your name probably got me in there. And it was just January 3rd, 2020. This is where you dump your shit, and this was shit. And they knew it. Just weak plot, shallow characters, way too many jump scares. Even the jump scares fucked it up. Even the jump scares couldn't fucking get you jumpy, right? It's just awful, awful. And looking here, it's box office. So you know all those other horror films that I put on this list that they lost money and they barely made any money? Well, this one had a budget of $10 million and it made $50 million at the box office. So it was not quite the success they were hoping for, but it made money, which makes no sense. I guess it makes sense because it's riding off. Everybody knows The Grudge, and they were like, oh, this is going to be great. I remember The Grudge. So that's probably why, even though it's so bad of a film, it still made somewhat some money. But honestly, I hope, because it was such a huge misfire, I hope they never make another Grudge film again because this was garbage. Let me see here. The future. In September 2019, the Grudge director, Nicholas, expressed interest in a crossover between The Grudge and the American The Ring, which was done for the first time in 2016 in Japan. They already had a crossover where they fought each other. Did you watch it?
Music video or something like that too.
In January 2020, he expressed further interest in a sequel being set in both a different part of the world than America or Japan in a different, less contemporary time period. And he's like, I have interest. Everybody's like,
Anyone?
No.
Anyone else?
Anyone else want to do Grudge? No. Hopefully they don't let him do another one because this was god awful. What about y'all's?
We're probably gonna watch it. He's gonna force us to watch it.
I don't want to watch that shit. That sounds terrible.
No, anything by him, I'm gonna look for his name and I'm gonna force us to watch it.
My number one is Bloodshot with a dry ass Vin Diesel trying to pull off this
ultra cool new hero
thing, which I don't understand why.
Vin Diesel's never gonna play Xbox Live with you now.
Damn
that's me. He plays with. He don't play with Joe.
Yeah, he does not. This one was. I just don't get it. How they're gonna make it number 2?
Why is Vin Diesel in so much shit? You know, I love the guy. I think, and he's a gamer. He's a D&D player. I just wish that he had a better agent. He honestly needs a better agent.
Same, but this is also tainted because this is his last movie we all saw in the movie theater, so it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Very sour taste.
It's the last movie you saw. I don't want to talk about it. No.
Alex, what is your number one?
My number one was Mulan. I think Mulan had, the audacity to charge $30 on top of the monthly, the fact that I loved the animation, the original animation so much, and this one did fucking nothing. And, not only did they do that, we talked about this in the full review. Mulan is a female empowerment story that is done so well, where it's the content of your character that's important. If you're a good person and a smart person, you can overcome these odds. And they ruined all that by saying Mulan is only important because she has Chinese earth magic, and she is literally not special for any other reason.
Then she's already good at the best thing. She's as a 4-year-old, she can kick the ass of anybody.
She's got earth magic, and it's not that all little girls can be special, and then
it's not use your brain and
none of that shit. It's you got fucking earth magic. You're Chinese Neo, except for with no songs, no anything. I didn't pay a cent for it. He has the Disney Plus thing. I refused. We didn't pay the $30, and I felt like I spent too much money on Mulan, and I didn't spend a goddamn thing. That movie was by far the worst thing I saw this year.
Yeah. It was. All right, well, that was our worst movies. Shame on all these films for making our 2020 even worse than it already was. I had some honorable mentions, and I can mention, but I didn't see dishonorable mentions. I haven't seen these, but it's on other people's list. Hubie Halloween, Joe, did you had to have seen this. You watch all this. Yeah. But it's not bad enough to be on there.
Probably
is it a dishonorable mention?
It was a stupid.
I was going to dishonorable mention Wrong Missy, but I never ended up seeing it. And then Dr. Dolittle.
Didn't see it.
Somebody as awesome and flying high as
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. and he immediately face plants in a big old pile of shit
and cash.
So couldn't be anywhere near the cash he was making from Avengers.
Probably not, but you movie suck.
Didn't need to do that. So he died, and then he fucking made a bunch of money and an awful, awful film in Doolittle. Yeah. You have any honorable mentions?
No, I think we saw.
The honorable mentions are the other 97 films that Joe saw in 2020.
140. You had.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you want to support some of these extra videos, this extra content, check us out on Patreon. It's got some cool rewards there. The YouTube join button. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll do some more, and stay tuned for some more content from us. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.